let me tell you a story. Once upon a time in France, the French government says, okay, there is cloud coming from US. Let's say what we can do in France about cloud. And they call projects, R&D projects, how to improve a model for the cloud computing in France. Because everyone is not Amazon and or Google or Microsoft, and how to deal about cloud computing in France. Saying the main concern was we have local administration, 30,000 small town and villages, and we have 50% of the economy which is based on company less than 10 people. So what will be the effect of the cloud computing on those actors? The answer we tried to give was, okay, if we want to deal about cloud for those actors, we need then those actors build the cloud by themselves. So we are looking about other small companies. We have created a consortium of 7 small companies. And we create the project Nuage in 2000, the consortium Nuage in 2012. Working during 30 months on R&D. In July 2014, we end the R&D project. September 2014, Celeste present the first brick of the technology of Nuage, which is the Stair DC, DC container. And in April of this year, 2015, we released an hyper-converged IT solution called CloudStar. As I say, the goal of Nuage was how to build an alternative to public cloud in France for SMEs and local authorities. 6 complementary SMEs, maybe you've seen about non-stop systems. So first, what's the competences needed to build a cloud? So non-stop, which work as an integrator expert in virtualization. Celeste, which worked on all DC, green IT aspect. We Drive, which secured storage. River, working on a virtual desktop. AlphaLink, private operator, private network operator. A new generation about power consumption. And by the way, 2 research team of the laboratory LIP6, led by Guy Pujol, Dr. Guy Pujol. So Nuage assumptions was the cloud should be a part of the customer private IT. By the way, there is no reason how to send all data in public clouds. If we want to create a cloud for people, we need then people be part of the cloud. Second things, absolutely necessary, which if you are looking about what's the last tendency we have actually in security, this way, when we start to say we need to split the resources between private and public, remember it was 3 years ago. Yes, 3 years ago, people just say no, we don't reason, all will be public. By the way, right now, all the European Commission see about the actuality between about safe harbor. There is a real problem how to separate private data from public data, and all people are working about that. If the cloud is not able to give an answer to that, there is no cloud. third things, we need to be close to the user. And the last project where we are involved is dealing with smart cities. And what we see is that with the Sigfox and LoRaWAN and on new protocols is based on, for the IoT, Internet of Things, we are speaking about area between 10 to 60 kilometers around a spot where you collect the data. So, by the way, the fact we know that the cloud today is not adapted for Internet of Things. So we'll need to have small infrastructures closer to the place where the data will be collected. And as we are thinking, how we are seeing, I have direct discussions with Ericsson. It was just last week about what they are seeing today. They see that between in a close future, we will not anymore deal about. We will be able to use really mesh of networks and combine all technologies in order to provide links than we are not even thinking today. So more and more links, more and more technologies, more and more mesh, and the information and so we will create new networks. So we need to keep close to the user, and at a certain extent, the things which is interesting to move from the users is the IT services where they have no competences. Basically, more and more people have some competences, but which not allow all the needed to manage their own infrastructures. So what we must allow is that the user will be, which have competences, will be able to use those competences at a particular level where he'll be. And first and last, reduce always the operating cost. So the rest is history. Take a container, transform it in a DEC. Stop having all things going to Paris and try to create new links between user directly. So we don't have to follow the place where are the data centers. The things which is important is the user. So what we tried in NewEdge is be user-centric, look at where is the user, and after create the network between the users. And not the most big link or thing, but the link which is really appropriate. The real time, the reality is real time and right sizing. In most of the case, we don't place any effort in doing the right things. We create architecture, saying okay, and after we don't survey them. We don't look at the resources. We don't take care about what we are using. It's not good. We absolutely need to know what is done, how it's done, and to create always the right solution. And we can do it humanly. We need to automate most of the things, because it could be done by only human resources. So what we have tested on NewEdge, the architecture of the test bed was 2 data centers in Paris. So one in Champs-sur-Marne, the Celeste Marilyn data center, and other in Courbevoie, the telco center from AlphaLink, which have been linked by dark fiber. We have linked those 2 data centers to one another in Toulouse and one another in Lyon. This have been done the heart of Nuage, what we call the national data centers. And all that is, and on those 4 physical data centers, we create only one virtual data center. So all data will shared and able to move freely through those 4 data centers. After, so we have a 3-step architecture. The second step, the second level of the architecture is what we call a local DC. Basically, for us, it's now the Star DC, which is hello. So Star DC, it's 4 bay, so 4 rack. It's a small one, but the idea is to replace normally with the identity. And if you are able to fill the 4 racks of a Star DC, you are able to offer approximately between 4,000 to 5,000 virtual servers. 4,000 to 5,000 virtual servers. It's nearly the size of all computing for a company like Total. So, basically, with very small units, you are able to create enough infrastructure for a wide area. So no need to have big data centers at local level. And after we speak about IT room, but maybe it will be, and you can say Internet of Things. It could be a very small. It could be the user. So the collect point for us is the local DC. So what have been designed at the end of the project? The DC container, a new architecture allowing a mesh of DCs, and a complete software stack to build and manage a distributed cloud. After the project, so as I said in September, Celeste released the Star DC, and in April we released Cloud Star. So here is a Star DC. So the main goal is you are able to go fast. So you are able with the offer of the Star DC, you are able in 4 months to bring a data center fully operational. So you order, and 4 months after you start operation. It's fully automated. So it's a real DC, and all operations could be operated remotely. So you have no need to have somebody except for security, access control, and things like that. But only the main aspect of this data center, you can't forget it. Place it, bring your hardware in it. And if it's a Cloud Star which is deployed on it, forget it too, because all is remote. So just place it, forget it. And this is the design of the inside. So you have 5 rack. The rack of the middle is containing the 20 kilowatt power secure, and you have a generator you can plug on it in order to keep long autonomies for if you have any problem of power. So first experimentation. So the Star DC we have tested it for 1 year. So since September 2024 and September 25. During a full year, we have deployed our own architecture in it, and well, okay, no problem. It runs. And the second use case you've seen is called, it's an underground data center. The region Pays de Loire have asked to make a test of a star DC which are plugged in a subterranean place in order to benefit from the condition, the temperature, and so. And the test, as I say to you, they are just starting to manage. So the project is starting right now. But there is a farm. Okay, it's cool. The idea to place computing in a cave. But in same times, every place where you have a hangar, a roof, so some place where you have, it's easy. You just have to place the container. The only thing is to avoid then you have not enough oxygen. So you need to be sure to have some, and this is the same things which is doing by Google with chicken farms. Because it takes chicken farms, what they call the chicken farm architecture today. So CloudStar. So we released CloudStar in 2015 in April. We are the first customer of our architecture, based on the fact that if it don't work, we will be the first impacted. So it's Debian OpenStack safe. So it's integration of Debian, of OpenStack on Debian with safe. Basically, this is pretty similar to the CERN, C-E-R-N architecture. But we don't know about it's quite. We just when they released their new their last version, we seen and we were pretty similar, except the fact they have 100 or 1,000 of machines where we have only 3. But it was a goal of Nuage. The goal of Nuage is how, if I remember, okay, could we have the technology ready for people which very small investment. So we really want to have it. And basically we really success to integrate the full components in a hardware platform and having it ready to install, ready to use for 3,000 euros. So it's full open source. There is some code which have been generated in order to link the product, and which is in Python. But basically, we try to keep almost as possible ready to the main projects, and no proprietary code in order to be to keep the user totally free of what he will done about the platform. 3 first experimentations are actually in progress. The first, I can't give the name of the customers right now. Sorry, but it will be official as soon as. So the first experimentations is for a school, which is dealing a large number of documents. The second one is for lawyers. And the third one is in the case of the smart city project for a small town which want to invest in new technologies. All of those projects are agile because it's exactly the case that we have previously. So the customer want to move, but they have no real idea of what they are expecting. They just want to move. So what we are expecting in the future, I say about strategy, the strategy is then there is no strategy. The strategy is to follow the user. So create almost at actually we are creating the most business case, the most use case we can create. So each time we create a very low entry point, and we ask people, okay, if you want to test, let's discuss. And after creating a user group and having people discussing together to improve the solution. Yeah, for us, future is distributed, like in some other case. Let's go together. Feel free if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Mark. Do you have questions on this innovative architecture? Joyce?
Just a little question. I see you have open source your software, and is your hardware is open source on the
It's a good question. No, what we have done is when we start Nuage, we focused on the software stack. We just take Supermicro database because it was the standard, the effective standard, which has used by many of people. We are following the innovation, what is done around open software, open hardware, but basically it's another fight. Yeah, there is. You must choose. You must choose where you are, and the software stack. And I'm really happy to see what is done around the OpenStack community now. So I think in France, the efforts which have done during the past years is now creating something new, really. And we've seen effects, the good effects. I think for hardware, it will be harder, really harder, for a lot of things. But main reason is that the manufacturer are in Asia, and we have lost too many competences, and the entry point. Okay, maybe avec the 3D printing, but right now it's still very complex. But I follow this, and I respect a lot the people which have engaged this fight, because it's necessary, but it's not us. Yeah, free cooling. Yes, yes. Basically, you have all. You can call Celeste. They will be very happy to give you more information on the container. But oops. Here you have a technical local, and which is you are monitoring all things, and you have an extension, automatic extension systems, which you know it's really totally the security, the access control is monitoring. You can even imagine there is some improvement about controlling the door. Download. Oops. When we start Nuage, it was my first collaborative project as a leader. And we don't speak really about proprietary. Yes, about the proprietary things and things like that. But when we deal with the government about that, they say, okay, don't take don't take all the fights in the same time. Let's say each, yes, and each company will be able to take its own decisions. After conducting the project now, my remark, my experience says that it's not the good way. Because at the end of New Age, we are not able to create a full solution, a commercial solution, because we have different view on those aspects. And I think it's very important when you start the project to have the same goal, the same view on property, intellectual property, and things like that.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you very much. We will move up to the next presentation.